I platinum Far Cry 4 and it was legendary. If you're new here, I'm trying to platinum every Far Cry game before 200 subscribers, or else I have to eat a whole box of Bean Boozled beans. So if you hate me, subscribe. Starting out, you see yourself on a bus with a bunch of randoms. We reach a border checkpoint, and just like Trump's dream, everybody gets gunned down.
I just want to leave you by saying very important words. God bless America.
That's until we hop out the back and Daddy Min comes to our rescue. Being a nice guy, he invites us back to his house. We don't stay long before SEAL Team 6 comes and grabs us. I still think about my crab rangoon. Once dipping out, we make our way to a bell tower. At a bell tower, we get invaded by the op. And after making easy work of them, we go meet Sabal. He sends us over to our best friend Amita. If you know, you know. We help her out by killing and skinning those damn wolves that keep attacking her alcoholic grandma's farm. Amita isn't the biggest fan of us, but she'll come around. Next thing we know, we're rushing to free a little girl from a burning village. We pull the alpha move and run straight into the fire. After finding her, we take her back to Amita, who reluctantly thanks us. When going to the next mission, I decided to stop by an outpost, and with the help from Manny from Ice Age, I took over it without a single alarm going off for a trophy. At this point, I've liberated 60 outposts between the Far Cry games, so this shit was light. I then reached the next mission, and Amita was waiting there for me. She then gives me this whole spiel on how she doesn't like me because of my parents and whatever. But because I saved Badra, I'm cool. Anywho, once she stops her blabbering, our trophy pops because we're officially part of the Golden Path. The next main story mission came soon after, where I had to decide between gaining intel about a big attack that may be coming, or defending one of our villages that has rumors of being attacked soon. Decisions are a big part of Far Cry 4, and they are usually between Amita and Sabal. This time I sided with the woman and went to find the intel. I infiltrated the enemy territory and took out each of the men that had intel. After dropping it back off, I met with Sabal, and he isn't mad, just disappointed, because a bunch of people died at the village, and I mean honestly just get better, it's a skill issue. While doing some side stuff, I ended up leveling up enough to get 10 skills for a trophy. This next trophy didn't come for 2 hours, and honestly the story doesn't matter that much. So let's fast forward a bit. There's 4 main bad guys, each ruling over their own area in Kyrat. One of them is De Pleur, or we'll just call him Paul. Tragically for him though, he's our first target. I make my way over to his fortress and slowly but surely infiltrate it. Once we found the suspect, we act as if we're the guy that he captured and was about to torture. Joke's on him because we smacked that boy in the next week. While knocked out, we took him back to the car and kidnapped him all the way back to Sabal. Once dropped off, a trophy popped. The next target was Noor, and instead of infiltrating her fortress, we infiltrated her arena. And instead of like sneaking around, we just shot her straight in the head. After escaping like Prime Aiden Pierce from Watch Dogs, we get another trophy for taking her out. I then head up to my parents' old house only to find 2 stoners who were squatting there. We asked them what the fuck is going on there, and they just blabber. They do tell us where a piece of our mother's Thenga painting is, and we kinda have to go get that. So we head back down to a cave and find it. Once there, we pick it up and transcend to the afterlife. Well, maybe not the afterlife, but we transcend to Shangri-La. This is like a place where, well, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's a place where once we leave, we get a trophy. I then paused the main story grind and went for most of the multiplayer trophies. Big thanks to Alfie from the comments, you'll see him down there probably just showing some love. Anywho, to kick off the multiplayer trophies, I joined his game so I could play as Perk, and we took over an outpost. Next, I went to the Battle of Karat side of multiplayer and played one of the highest rated maps on the map browser. Finally, for now, I had to play each of the game modes for the Renaissance Man trophy. This was smooth sailing up till the game mode Demon Mask. The servers are more deadly than my grandma and took over an hour for me to get into a match, but once I did get the trophy. Back in the main campaign, I teamed up with a returning friend from Far Cry 3, our favorite CIA agent, Willis. Started taking over an airstrip, and while gunning down all the other fellas, I was able to snipe 2 of them at once for a trophy. Afterwards, Willis flies us to the Himalayas to take out a bunch of lieutenants to send a message to Yuma. She's another bad guy and we'll get to her. While looking for the first lieutenant, I ended up tagging 25 enemies with the camera, which popped another trophy. The next trophy also happened while searching for lieutenants. While trying to be stealthy, I ended up distracting enough enemies with rocks. After killing all the lieutenants, I went back to Willis to take us home, only for him to abandon us and then coincidentally get captured by Yuma and Min. Min goes on to tell us how we shouldn't have left and joined the Golden Path because there's a bunch of frauds and all that. And he finishes his talk by leaving and having the guard drug us. We got sent into the Shadow Realm, and to be honest, I had no clue what was going on, but it all worked out because by the end of it, we escaped the prison and got back to the mainland with Amita. Once I was back, I wanted to be a true American and bought myself a cooler gun. I also got a trophy for spending $500,000 in the trade outpost. And then right after, I took over my 8th bell tower for another trophy. Now with the dopamine hit, I spent the next hour doing a bunch of missions all leading up to taking out our 3rd suspect, Yuma. I go to a cave where she should be, and she pops out of nowhere and drugs us again. We can't let this stop us though, so we push through, and even after trying to seduce us, we still murk her. How we murked her, even though we were fated, I have no clue. But we did so here's the trophy. The next trophy came out of nowhere when I hijacked my 3rd cargo truck and took it back to an outpost. These are random occurrences, and it's low-key kinda nice I got it now because it does rely on some RNG, but still isn't that rare. Finally, I was at the end of the story. Before taking out the big bad guy, Paige and Min, Sabal has us make a pit stop at Amita's house. Why? To kill her. Definitely top 5 betrayals I've seen. I didn't want to kill her, but I had to. Okay, maybe I did just a little, but that's besides the point. Now that Amita is out of the picture, we're ready to take down Min. Me and a bunch of the Golden Path members line up outside his fortress, and after taking it over, we catch Paige and Lack in his house where it all started. He then brought up the crab rangoon, and that tipped me over the edge. I shot him right there. The credits roll, but I ain't standing through all that, so I skip it and the last story-related trophy pops. The next 2 trophies came randomly. One was for spinning the block 25 times, and by that I mean I shot 25 people while driving. Then the next trophy was for killing 30 enemies with the mortar. order. I then also got a trophy while liberating an outpost because it was my 12th one. Only like 50,000 more to go in this series. Then I was back at the airstrip where that bitch Willis was, and I noticed I could really gain some ground while flying with the wingsuit. Luckily for me, there's a trophy just for that. After flying the same path a few times, I flew a total of 5,000 meters for a trophy. Instead of outposts, I focused on fortresses. I only needed 2 for a trophy, and with all the leaders dead, it was a breeze. Probably easier than some of the outposts. After taking over Nord's fortress, the trophy popped. The next few trophies all came from doing side missions. 3 assassination missions, 3 karate field missions, and 3 bomb defusal missions. I'm on a kick right now, dopamine. While driving around with the rest of the outposts, I hit a total of 30 people with my car. I think it was fueled by estrogen, but I could be wrong, but I'm probably right. You know how people with estrogen drive, if you know what I mean.
I turn now. Good luck, everybody else.
For going on a GTA 5 rampage on the streets, the next trophy was much more calm. I was at my mother's abode when I got the trophy fixer-upper for buying 3 upgrades. While I've been trying to liberate all the outposts, I made sure to stop at each of them to take down the Pagan Min propaganda because we don't need another LA riot. Now finally, I was done with all the outposts. The trophy popped, and this seemed way faster than both the other Far Cry games, but that could just be because I'm numb to it at this point. Then called upon Alfie again for the final co-op trophy. This we're doing a vehicle takedown. To do it, you would usually drive next to an enemy vehicle, then perform it, but not me. I decided to jump into a car we just hit and totally bugged the animation, but the trophy did pop, so I'm not gonna complain. The next 2 trophies both had to do with buying something. The first was called Trick Down and popped after buying 5 upgrades for my equipment. The second trophy was for buying a Guns for Hire upgrade in the trade outpost. After spending a bunch of resources, I decided to go and do a total of 6 hunting quests, which not only gave me some money back, but also gave me rare animal skins, which I have no use for anymore. I then went for the Dr. Feelgood trophy. I had to craft 15 syringes. Did I make any during the game? No, I did not. I literally had to Google how to make syringes in Far Cry 4. But once I knew, I just picked a bunch of flowers and kept injecting Tren into me until the trophy popped. Then did some more of the side missions. This time I did 3 Karat Fashion Week missions. These aren't hard, but the first one was AIDS. I mean, I was trying to kill this fish for like 2 hours. Just kidding. It was more like 20 minutes, but still. But the other 2 were pretty easy, and so was the trophy. I then wanted to do something a little bit more tame, so I went for some of the collectibles. There are 4 different sets of collectibles I have to get from now on, and I went for the Lost Letters. Just like in Far Cry 3, they're usually in caves, but weren't hard to get at all. But the collectible grind didn't last very long because right after I did the letters, I did a hostage rescue mission. Instead of having to do a set amount of missions, I had to free a set amount of people. The amount being 15, which I got on my 3rd one, which makes no sense because each mission has 4 hostages, so 3 times 4 equals 12. But anyways, I'm not going to complain the trophy pop. I then went back to the store and spent some more cash maxing out one of my guns for another trophy. Now this next trophy took a little bit of time to get. Nothing crazy, but still, the trophy is called Well Read, and I had to get 10 notes. What are notes? They're little messages left throughout the story. Do you see the problem now? I'm done with the story. So instead I had to look up where some are, and luckily I read enough during the story that I only had to go find a couple more for the trophy to pop. Next trophy came while I was just strolling along. I left at one of the outposts that I already captured. It was invaded, so I popped a Yui and sent the ops back to where they came from. This also happened to be my 3rd time doing this throughout the whole game, and it was enough for the trophy. This game loves everything in 3s apparently. I then went back to doing the collectibles. This time was the Mask of Yulung. I had to get 15 for the trophy to pop. These are pretty easy to find even though the map only gives you a radius it's in. Being an ex-Call of Duty sweat, I knew exactly how to use sound cues to find them, and as you came closer, a hum would become louder, and once I got my 15th one, the trophy popped. I was gonna get another set of collectibles done, but along the way, I ran into my 3rd convoy, and with my trusty little pistol RPG, I just blew each car up in like 30 seconds. Easiest trophy of the whole game. As I was saying though, I was going after the menu wheels now. I had to spend 10 total, but my map didn't have that many marks, so before I could get 10, I had to buy maps from the shop, and that just kind of hurt my ego. And after I did that though, I got my last few and got the trophy. Now this next trophy was a curveball. It has nothing to do with anything I've done so far. Remember Nor? Well, back at her arena, I had to get to rank 5. This maybe took 20 minutes. It was just me doing the same thing over and over until finally ranking up enough for the trophy. Pretty boring, but pretty easy. Now at the final stretch, I had to do a bunch of weapon-related trophies, so let's speedrun them. The first one was for doing a takedown from a buzzer. It wasn't hard, it was just weird. Next was to explode 4 enemies all at once. This was honestly all RNG based, and it took the whole game for me to do this, but I'm so glad it popped sooner rather than later. Next trophy came after killing 50 enemies with fire. A favorite trophy of mine from this game is fire is awesome sauce. I then ended up killing a total of 30 enemies with an elephant for another trophy. Finally, I got a trophy for sniping someone from more than 60 meters away with a bow and arrow, and that concludes all the weapon-related trophies. It was now time to get the final trophy, named Fully Loaded. I had to get every skill in the game. Now, if I was a normie, this could take a while, but I'm not. I did some research and learned that if I followed this exact route at Pagan Min's Fortress, I could get a fuckload of XP really fast. That's exactly what I did until finally I was able to get every skill, and then the Platinum frickin' trophy. That was Far Cry 4. Definitely a good game. 3 was still a little bit better, but I don't think anything's gonna beat 3. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe and let me know down below if you enjoyed the video and what I should change, if anything. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.